Alright, so I finished the Levely Reverie arc, and I'm gonna start Wano. I am at Wano. I cannot tell you how excited I am to finally be here. It's what, October of last year I started, and I figured this would take me years, but I'm going into Wano. I'm so excited. Not excited to being caught up and having to do week to week, but still got a couple 100 chapters before I have to worry about that. So let's get into this one. We start with Sanji realizing that his brother Ninji had slipped a raid suit into his pocket, or into Luffy's pocket, when he was saved back in Whole Cake Island. I've already answered this based on a comment question of the last video, whether I think he's going to keep it or not. Personally, I was very much with Sanji's opinion starting off. He doesn't want anything from his family. He doesn't want any of their support. He wants nothing from Germa, especially with all the trauma, and he doesn't need his technology or their technology. He can stand on his own, everything like that. But I do think he's going to hold on to it for emergencies if Nami or Robin or any of the crew members are in real danger and he just needs another power boost. So I think he's going to hold on to it, but he's not going to just be using it because he has it. Chopper and Luffy are begging him to keep it and let them try it on, or him try it on, because they think it's going to be awesome. Completely fits with their character. Nami is revealed to have captured Zeus, and like he's now her servant. He's in the climate baton, and I love that. I love that for Nami so very much, just to have this powerful little cloud to amplify lightning abilities. I cannot tell you how happy I am that she now has Zeus. And I guess she calls him her servant, but so long as you feed him, there's probably lots of lightning in that climate baton for him to snack on, so he's happy. I love that. I am so happy for that moment there, more than I am the actual battle suit. Carrot then gets a newspaper and reveals new bounties. Sanji's happy that his bounty is now higher than Zoro's, but he's mostly pissed and sad that it's only because of his family name, which he doesn't want to be tied to. And Luffy is distraught, crying on the deck, saying that his bounty went down so much, he's so upset. And then we get all these little flashes to people reading the newspaper around the world and Luffy's adventures and everything, the fight against Big Ma, the armada that he's accumulated, and everything like that. And I'm just like, what's going on? And then it is revealed that Luffy just miscounted the zeros. He's no longer like 150 million. He's at 1.5 billion berry bounty. And my darling boy, my darling, sweet, lovely boy, 1.5 billion berries. I am so happy for him. It's bad that I'm happy his wanted poster is so high because he's a wanted criminal, but that is absolutely fine. What else? There was something else about Luffy. The Fifth Emperor. The newspapers are calling him the Fifth Emperor, my sweet darling boy. I did not expect that, because I figured there are 4 Emperors of the Sea. Luffy would take one of the titles whenever he defeated either Big Mom or Kaido, whichever one it was. I didn't think he'd be taking on Shanks. I know he wants to take down all the Emperors, but I figured he'd get the title of the 4th Emperor of the Sea when he took down one of the existing 4. I did not expect the newspaper to just declare him the 5th Emperor. Again, it's a title that they're probably just calling him. It's probably not an official one, but I love it. I love that so very much for my sweet darling boy. My other sweet darling boy, Koby, I love this man so much. He's grown so much. Favorite Marine is Koby. He has developed his observational haki. He took down a submarine, so he's swimming, so he doesn't have a devil fruit yet. And that was to protect Rebecca and her ship, I think it was, from a pirate ship who had abducted another princess on the way to Reverie or Reverie. And Helmeppo and the rest of the Marines had rescued the kidnapped princess, and Koby is going to escort everyone else to the Holy Island location place. And Rebecca shows him the newspaper about Luffy, and he shouldn't be happy that a pirate has such a high bounty, but he's so proud of Luffy and how much he's grown and the power he's achieved. I am so excited for these two to meet. I'm not excited to see them fight, but I am excited to see them fight, just because I don't think it's going to be an angry confrontation. I think it's going to be, let's test our skills against each other, see who comes out on top. It's going to be Luffy. But I think they're both going to enjoy the fight and testing each other. So I am excited to see it happen so long as they're not angry at each other. King Neptune is coming up to the Reverie along with Princess Crybaby and her brothers, and that's wonderful. I was robbed of seeing her reaction to Garp and learning that he's Luffy's grandfather. Like, because she's calling him, like, Luffy's grandfather, and he's escorting them to the surface world. And I'm just like, you didn't show me her learning that Garp is Luffy's grandfather? I would have loved that. She looks at a tree and is just like, is this one of your favorite or your famous forest? And Garp's just like, we call that a tree. And I love it. And Garp is knocking down the prince or king, Shelby, Sabo's adopted brother, who's now the king of that country, and that guy is claiming that Garp's one of his subjects and should be respectful to him, and Garp's just telling him to piss off, and it's wonderful. I love it. Big Mom is calling Kaido and being like, hey, we gotta do something about this Luffy guy. Kaido is like, I'm not teaming up with you. Go to hell. I work alone. Big Mom's like, you owe me. And he's like, that was a lifetime ago. It was a lifetime debt. So we're working together and I'm taking down Luffy. You're going following with my plan. Kaido's just like, all right, I guess we're doing that. The military is overhearing this conversation. It's like, oh crap, two emperors are going to meet. What the hell do we do about this Luffy guy? It's chaos right now. Love that. Fujitora is showing up like, hey, I know I'm not supposed to be here because I've been kicked out and I'm not allowed coming back without Luffy or Law's head. But technicality, I'm gonna be here anyway. Magma Bastard is just pissed about that and sends a different admiral to go deal with it. Different admiral is just like, want to have lunch, so they're just talking. Fujitora is just like, hey, I talked to Vegapunk and we don't actually need the warlords anymore. If they come after my sweet darling boy Mihawk, my darling love, I will not be happy. However, what the hell are they going to do to Mihawk? What are they doing to Mihawk? I don't know if I want the warlord title disbanded. It'd be better for the rest of the world, considering the majority of them are just using the title to get away with terrible, terrible things. So long as Mihawk's fine with whatever goes on, I'm fine with it. I should slow down, because so much happened in so few chapters. We get some scenes with the Revolutionary Army, so Dragon learns about Luffy, and personally, I don't overly care too much about Dragon, just because I'm interested to see what he's going to do in the future, but I was more interested in Sabo's reaction to hearing all this about Luffy, and he hurt his face grinning and smiling so much. He was so proud of his baby brother, and that is wonderful. I love it. They are planning a full-on war against the world government and are infiltrating the Reverie. We get cutaways to the other high-ups in the army, and they're saving a town who were attacked by pirates, and one of them has this like banner, bellow something, to inspire the people around her to fight with them, and I love that. It really reminded me of one of the powers in Mistborn, so I like her and their power. There's one of them who can create a bunch of crows, which I think is who Sabo must have been up with and was flying away on when we first met him back in Dressrosa. I'm obviously a fan of Itachi, so I'm all for someone with a bunch of crows. When they defeated the pirate, they left him there for the citizens to claim the bounty and just say, hey, if you ever need us, the Revolutionary Army is willing to help and take you on, so if you want to join us, come. So I like that recruitment aspect, and they're all getting ready to go to the levee again, and you have Sabo infiltrating disguised as a guard and escorting the nobles up, and one of the nobles around him is his adopted brother, and I'm just like, oh, I wish he could have had the opportunity to slap him, but clearly can't do that. Princess Crybaby Shirahoshi meets up with Vivi and Rebecca, and also the ones from Chopper's Island, the Witch Lady, and Dalton. There we go. And they just get together and gush about how much they love Luffy. Their guards are all like, hey, Luffy's a wanted pirate. We don't know if this is one of Luffy's friends. We can't just talk about him like this. and each one keeps overhearing. Did you say Luffy? I love Luffy. Let's talk about Luffy. So I love that moment. I love that they're all friends. And then we have the Celestial Dragon who needs to burn in hell. What the hell's his name? Saint Charles I'm going with Charlos. Um So we're walking to the castle place where they're all gonna have their big meeting at that big round table. There's a conveyor belt thing, so people don't have to walk; they can just stand on it, and everyone's just like, "Oh, this is really cool, very relaxing. We should get one of these for our palace." And you cut to below, and it's slaves pulling it and being whipped to turn the conveyor belt thing, and that perfectly illustrates, hey, this capital place is so beautiful and magnificent, it's a utopia, but then you have this dark underbelly beneath it, the same way the world government's trying to hold peace and prosperous imagery on the backs of those they're suppressing and hurting. And yep, that moments, I'm like, yep. So then St. Charlo's buddy is just like, I'm a celestial dragon, I can do whatever I want, I'm a god. Kidnap the giant mermaid princess, I want her for a pet, and my blood pressure spikes. We're cut to Shirahoshi in chains, crying. Vivi and Rebecca are screaming, you can't do this, but their guards are holding them back because you can't create an international incident. This is a celestial dragon, they can do whatever they want, there's nothing we can do here. King Neptune is just like, screw my wife's dreams, you're not taking my daughter, I'm going to kill you. The little ones from Dressrosa are trying to intervene, but then CP0 shows up, and the evil man, the little psychopath that is Rob Lucci, shows up to protect the Celestial Dragon, declaring him a god, and they can do whatever they want. My blood pressure is boiling. I'm like, yes, King Neptune, try your best, slaughter them all. Don't care if it starts a war. Shirahoshi is just like, no, father, you can't. This isn't the way. Let go of your hatred. I'm like, my beloved crybaby princess, shut up and let someone save you. And then another celestial dragon. I never thought I would say, God love this celestial dragon. Shows up with a big spike club and whacks Charlos with it. Because he's apparently a celestial dragon, can attack another celestial dragon. This is a member of the Don Quixote family, the same ones who left the celestial dragons that Doflamingo was related to. And he was the one who went and shipwrecked down at Fishman Island that the former queen had saved and risked her life to protect. And now he has clearly had some turn of morality and is saving her daughter. And protect this man at all costs. He refuses to let anything happen to the princess. He's like, stay with me, I will keep you safe. If my name can do any good in this world, I will use it to protect you. If this is a plot or a betrayal or some scheme, it will crush my heart and soul. I've never liked when stories are too simple, that it's just like, this one group is completely evil. So I do like that the Don Quixote family have these individuals who clearly have a little bit more morality to them. So I'm so grateful for that inclusion. King Neptune is just like, it's good to know that there are good people in the world, speaking to this member of the Celestial Dragon, as well as the fact that Vivi and Rebecca tried to interfere. It's just like, you're not all terrible humans, so we still want to do the migration. We're reminded of Vivi's ancestors possibly were in the past able to become celestial dragons, but like they were part of, like, was it the 20 families who created the world but chose to stay among them and not become celestial dragons, so that's brought up again. We're cut to Doflamingo in prison at, I assume, Empel Down, and he is saying that an assassin's coming after him to quiet him from revealing the truth in this treasure, and that was the reason that the knowledge he had was the reason he got away with so much in Dressrosa, because he had connections in celestial dragons who wanted to keep him quiet. So whatever he knows, I'm assuming it's the truth of the Void Century, but they're also talking about a treasure. And then we get a cutaway to this giant straw hat. I'm assuming it's giant, and the person who came in to see it isn't just really small. I'm assuming it's giant. So, a guy with very pointy hat goes to, it might be the cold level of it, and giant straw hat. I had no sweet clue what this was. I'm kind of leaning towards it's the hat of a former pirate crew. This mostly goes with my tinfoil hat theory. Not really a tinfoil hat theory. It's my theory for the Willa D. We'll talk about that later. But I'm assuming it is a big hat. And you know how you have like the big sake cup? Along with the little ones for like the father and son ritual? I'm kind of assuming the big hat was for the captain. And he gave a bunch of small straw hats to like the leaders of different fleets or different divisions within his crew, and Roger was one of those like subordinates or a descendant of one of those subordinates, and it got passed down the line for generations, and this is like the original one. That is my, I have no evidence other than I have seen a big cup before with a bunch of little cups, and now we have a big straw hat and Luffy has a regular size straw hat. That's all I got. That's all I'm basing it on. I don't even. I'm kind of assuming this is the treasure that Doflamingo's talking about, but it's probably not. In addition, there's also whatever secrets he has and knowledge he has. So we're opening up a lot of questions and not giving many answers. We have Hina talking to Garp about a. I don't know if it's a group of individuals or a single individual named Rocks. From, was it 30, 40 years ago? That was like the time before Roger's generation, or around the same time that gave Garp his notoriety. And he's saying, won't need to worry about them if they come back. If they do, we'll deal with it. And cut to me connecting that with the man claiming to be my darling love Whitebeard's son. His mother saying they sailed with Whitebeard 30-ish years ago. I don't know if she's part of that Rocks generation. No sweet clue. One of the moments when my brain just short-circuited and my response to reading the chapter was just was red-haired Shanks showing up to talk to the 5 emperors, just casually strolling in like, yo, I'm here for my meeting. We need to talk about a specific pirate. I am assuming it's about Blackbeard and whatever he's doing, but I got no sweet clue what Shanks is up to for this meeting. I know what he's doing in my tinfoil hat theory, which we'll get to later, but no idea. Then we get Bonnie, who is just wandering around. She might be undercover. The last time I saw her, she was with Magma Bastard, so I don't know what's going on there. But her and Sabo both witness Kuma is being the slave of a celestial dragon, but he's specifically one that you rent, because I guess he's so important no one person can keep him. And I was shocked because I just assumed that the original body was converted into the cyborgs for the pacifistas, and I'm just like, didn't know that his actual body was still here, so he's still sort of alive being tortured, and he was the king of some country that was made an example of by the celestial dragons to what happens when you come out of line. And the Revolutionary Army are here also to save their friend, hopefully. And that so many questions, like what's the place he was the king of, and why did they do this to him? How did he stand up against them? I assume it was just his kingdom supported the Revolutionary Army, and the world government and the Celestial Dragons came down on him, took him as a slave, make an example of everyone else. But that, it was a very shocking panel. Like, that's a insane torture, brutal and painful. He's just got knives and swords sticking out of him. So that hurt. That really hurt. The 5 leaders take Sabo's adopted brother to the throne room, where you see all the swords that were the ones that created the world governments so many years ago, and the empty throne. So the idea, which is very nice, being that though the world government is consistent of like the 5 emperors, and you have the celestial, not 5 emperors, the five elders, celestial dragons, the government, and all these people individually protecting the world and the peace, the empty throne signals or represents that no one person is in charge of the world. It's like many people kind of thing, one collective, not one person individually. So I like I like what it represents. I don't like that adopted brother here is just like, I want to sit on that chair. But ideally, good for ideas, except when pointy hat guy comes out and he's just like going up and he's going to sit on that throne. So there is one individual controlling the world from the shadows in the government, ruling over everybody. Illuminati theory here. But we also have previously he had been in a garden with pictures of Blackbeard, Luffy, and Crybaby Princess. So Luffy's and Blackbeard's pictures were all tore up, where the princess had like a knife through her or a sword through her picture, and he's bringing a picture of Vivi up the stairs to the throne when he sits up there, and the five elders are just like, tell us, great Emu, you person's pointy hat man's name, by your guidance and whatever, is there going to be, we need another cleansing. So I'm assuming either Princess Shirahoshi and the Fishman Island or Vivi with Alabasta, one of those leaning towards Alabasta, is going to be cleansed or destroyed. I'm assuming this is in reference to the cleansing that happened with the Void Century. Maybe a cleansing with Orhara. Doubt it, leaning more towards Void Century. Also, if I can change my vote on whether the Op Fruit made an immortal person in the past, I'm going with this man, because an immortal person who's taken over the world and controlling the governments and the worlds from the shadows just sounds entertaining as hell. We get Marco talking to the Cat King at Whitebeard's home island, or the island that he considers his home, where he funneled all his money to protect, so that's why there's no real Whitebeard treasure. And him and what remains of his crew are trying to protect it from Blackbeard and from Whitebeard's supposed son. Don't know what I want to happen with the son. So Marco, I don't think, can join them in Wano because he really needs to protect this island, but I still think he's going to come eventually. And anything about Whitebeard, I love that inclusion. So those are the main things that happened in this arc, and obviously loved it all. Loved all the introductions of the different characters, loved seeing them, love Luffy, love this shadowy government thing, love seeing a celestial dragon get punched in the face by another celestial dragon. Rob Lucci is one of my favorite villains. He makes me so angry, the psychopath that he is, and the betrayal I still feel from him. So love that he's hopefully going to play a bigger role. I don't think there's anything else plot-wise I need to get into, which means I get into theories. We're going to start with theories I genuinely think of, and then go into tinfoil hat. This is just fun and crazy theory. Alright, starting with Kuma, I do still think that he gave himself over to the world government with a plan in mind. I think that he knew he would be turned into a weapon because of whatever history or knowledge with the Vegapunk guy, and there is something in him, whether in his programming or his mind or his devil fruit, or probably not his devil fruit, but something that will lead to the fact that all these other robots that were created from him can then be taken over, and the army that was for the world government, the Celestial Dragons, will then be used by the Revolutionary. I want to see that flip happening. I want to see that plan, virus, something in place that will give this army to Dragon. Very unlikely, but I do want some kind of connection between the Will of D and the Conqueror's haki. Doesn't need to be anything specific, but mostly this comes from the fact that Ace, we figured, or we were led to believe that he was the brother of Luffy and Dragon side because they both had D in their name. But then it turns out that Ace was Roger's kid, along with another woman whose name also had D in it. So he had the D on both sides, and I almost feel like, and granted this is because of my tinfoil hat theory, that Roger was with someone specifically because he wanted like the strongest bloodline of the Will of D, so he sought someone else who was also had that D in their name and that heritage, so some kind of blood related one there. and I want the conqueror's haki granted to be from something very much related to will and just your internal personality. It doesn't need to be blood related, but I want the combining of the two, the conqueror's haki and the will of D, fused together in Luffy to mean something, because he has like two distinct things that come from it, which means I need an origin from the the conqueror's haki side. So I'm thinking the first person to ever use conqueror's haki was a celestial dragon, and that's how they did something, got so many people on their side, conquered the world, and were technically very bad in that moment, that individual probably, as it led to that formation of something. I want something with conqueror's haki and an origin for it that just so happens anyone can have with a strong will, but I want the combination of conqueror's haki and the will of D coming together, and the fact that Luffy has both to mean something. Back to the will of D, not really sure how that would relate to everything I said with Ace and Roger seeking out someone to make a strong bloodline, but my original thought for what the will of D was an original crew that formed in the Void Century, and each member of the crew had D in their name, and the people with D now are descendants of this original crew. I mostly think this because anyone with a D has a unique aspect that could correlate to a ship member. So Luffy and Roger both being captains. I mean, Ace, Ace could be like your right-hand man. La is obviously the medic. I think I read in one of the SBSs or someone in the comments said Blackbeard, something about history was his passion. Also a trader. Every ship needs a trader. Saul I don't have very much for, but clearly he was someone on a ship anyway. I don't. It doesn't fit perfectly, but I do like the idea of an original crew and being descendants from this original crew. All right, let's talk ancient weapons here because it's one of my favorite things. Okay, bear with me. We know that the Pluton is a battleship. And we know. Thank you, comment section, for reminding me that Robin is most likely aware of its location due to reading the poneglyph in Alabasta, but lied to Crocodile and has not revealed its location. We know that Shirahoshi, Princess Crybaby, is the Poseidon. So, battleship and person. The comment section disagrees with me strongly, but until I've been proven wrong, I'm going with that the ultimate weapon requires both a ship and a captain. So something powers it, whether that be haki or some internal power, like Shirahoshi has the power to speak with the Neptunians. So I am still leaning towards that Princess Crybaby and the Noah together form the Poseidon, even if Shirahoshi herself is the Poseidon. Like, she still needs a ship, and the combination of the two is important. So her and the Noah. So I still think the the Pluton will need a captain. Get to that because it's a little bit more tinfoil hat theory. And then the Uranus, whatever. I'm going with that's going to be Momonosuke and Zhao in some way, just because he can talk to the elephant. And here is where I think that it's because it's like named after the sky god, and all the people of Zhao, or some of them anyway, have that second transformation when they look at the moon. So sky, moon, heavens, all that with the name Uranus. I'm going with the moon itself is the ultimate ancient weapon, or it's located on the moon, and the elephant is following the tides, circling the world forever as the moon rotates around the earth. I'm going with that, so somehow Enel gotta get the ultimate weapon off the moon to bring back down to earth for Momonosuke or the elephant or someone to use it. For the Pluton, I want the Pluton to be located at One Piece. Partly because I want one of these ancient weapons to be located there, just to tie in the narrative storyline structure of, like, the heart of the story is Luffy becoming the Pirate King and finding the One Piece. So, and the narrative plot structure is following the ponteglyphs to the final island, and then, oh hey, there's also some ancient weapons around here. So if everything tied together to all be at the same location, I do like that. So I want Pluton to be at the One Piece, and I want a small, I don't really need this, but it kind of sort of makes a little bit sense for Robin to have read the poneglyph, seen the location is at the final island, and be like, hey, this man who just saved me with all this strength and gave me reason for life is also heading there to be Pirate King. It makes sense for me wanting to join his crew and go with him to finish what I'm reading about the poneglyphs and see the end of the story. And she just hasn't told anyone yet. So I do like the idea of it being there. Now, why I put on the tinfoil hat is going to be, it's named after the god of the underworld. I want it to be powered by somebody who has risen from the dead. You have to have been reborn to do this. And as I've said many times, and Luffy has done so much to shorten his lifespan and sacrifice years of his life. He's getting all these fights. I want Luffy, I don't want it, it'll hurt me, but I want him to die in some way, for Law to offer him immortality, only for him to reject it because he refuses to let someone die for him, to let one of his friends die in his place. So he dies. I want them to go to the underworld. I literally want them to sail the River Styx. I want them to find Davy Jones' locker. I want them to do something to bring Luffy back. He is now reborn, resurrected, and then will take control of the Pluton as the new Pirate King to fight in this war, protect his pseudo-baby sister, Princess Crybaby, and wars. I want that. I do want that. And side note, it doesn't even have to be the original Pluton that he captains, because we know Frankie has most likely memorized the blueprints of the battleship. So we could have 4 ancient weapons, and you could have the original Pluton, as well as Frankie can build a new one, and then we'll have 2 of the same ones. Yes, this ties into my even bigger tinfoil hat theory, but I'm not going to go to my kitchen to sacrifice more aluminum foil to make a bigger tinfoil hat theory. You gotta make do with this one. We'll get to that one at the end. Alright, what do I think Shanks is up to? We'll get to my tinfoil hat theory. He better not be up to what is in my tinfoil hat theory, or I will eat my tinfoil hat. I don't want it. Realistically, I think he was in the East Blue looking for Roger's kid. So he was looking for Ace. Found Luffy because he knew that he was being cared for by Garp. And then wanted to maybe give the devil fruit to Ace, but Luffy took it. I don't know why. Why did he have a devil fruit? If maybe it was stolen treasure, it could have easily been. But like, none of his ship crewmates have devil fruit powers. Again, it very easily could have just been treasure that he got and was going to sell. But like, why was he in the East Blue to begin with? Like, he's a strong person. He's on the Grand's line. He's now an Emperor of the Sea. What the hell was he doing in this no-name village? And I think at one of the points he says, like, we got what we came for. It's time to return to the Grand Line. He's up to something there. I don't know what, but he is. And who's he talking to the world government about? Is he talking to them about Luffy? Is he talking to them about Blackbeard? Is he talking to them about the effects of the war and trying, like, the way he was trying to counsel Whitebeard to leave, to call off Ace to protect him? Is he gone to the world government to tell them, you need to call off whatever cleansing because we have these kind of forces? I know what you're up to, and I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen. Like, what's going on? Not an original idea because I seen it in the comment section first, but apparently there's a theory of Luffy bringing down the red line to connect the 2 oceans, And I'm perfectly fine with that because I need Laboon to be reunited with his original pod, and I'm assuming that that's going to be the ones we seen leaving Fishman Island. Just because some of them had scars on their head, I assume running into the red line to try to get to Laboon when he was crying. So yeah, red line needs to come down. Fishman Island, immigration, absolutely fine with that. Luffy's probably going to be the one to do it because we have the prophecy of destruction with the man with the straw hat. So in bringing down the red line, destroy Fishman Island, but everyone's already going to immigrate. So that's fine. That makes sense to me. Luffy's hidden dream, no, or secret dream, don't know what that is. Mostly leaning towards it being like whitebeards and just, I want a family, I want adventure, I don't care about treasure, just sail the world with me. Anytime we go to an island, I want to be welcomed with food and to just have a good time. Just live. I don't know what the hidden dream would be other than that. That just seems all he cares about. Going with what Joy Boy is or who Joy Boy is, no idea, not a clue. I know most likely a bunch of people think it's going to be Luffy. Makes sense. Protagonist, probably going to work. I'm just leaning towards Joy Boy was taken or misinterpreted from like Jolly Roger. So a pirate's going to be Joy Boy, but really that's all I got there. And finally, every time I call Luffy a Looney Tune, I get comments saying, oh, that's, yeah, like eye emojis, what you just say. And I'm like, okay, cool. Then, not bitter about this at all. Someone comments calling Luffy a Looney Tune as if you're pretending you don't know about G5. It is Gear 5, the next one, right? Yeah. So one, thank you for confirming to me that we're going to have another transformation for Luffy, because no, that was not confirmed for me. And it has something to do with Looney Tunes. So thank you for that. Not bitter at all. Secondly, this man bites into his thumb, blows air into his hand and bones to make a giant fist to punch people with. We had a recent attack where he treats his arm and punches like a pinball game where it can turn at right angles to snake around to hit someone in the face. We've seen him used as a trampoline to deflect incoming cannonballs, and he grabs things and shoots himself out like a slingshot. In what world do I not think of Luffy as a Looney Tune character? I have been calling him a Looney Tune since I was 12 years old and knew nothing about this series other than watching commercials for it on 4Kids. I never did watch it as a child, other than like a couple within the first arc. I'd never made it past Fishman Island. And even then, I'm like, this guy's a Looney Tune. I don't want to watch the show. It's too goofy. Going into it, I think I was suspicious of a new transformation because I seen a thumbnail on YouTube with a different version of Luffy, but quite honestly, I was leaning towards they went to a sky island and got turned into clouds. I was leaning much heavier towards that than this being another transformation just because it looks so different. And yes, I would have brought it up that I seen that thumbnail when it became relevant. I just didn't know anything of what it is or any context, so I didn't mention it. I mentioned when TikTok ruined or spoiled La being a member of the Willa D because it was relevant. I knew what that meant. I had context for it. So I brought it up. Didn't bring up the fact that I seen a thumbnail because it was a still image and I didn't know what it was regarding. Alright, as for Wano and Momonosuke, I don't really have enough information to think of what could be happening going in. I have a mild tinfoil hat theory that I think would be fun, but this is starting to get... So let's go with, I think that there is a reason that Momonosuke has memories of Roger, as well as knowing that the cat and dog kings used to be such good friends. And I have two possibilities. One, that when his father was killed and executed, he gained all the memories of the past leaders of his villager clan. And because it's been going on for so long, some of the memories are more hazy and you kind of got to unlock them. So I think he has memories of ancestors. Or option two, he ate a devil fruit, that when he dies, he is reborn as like the age he was when he ate the devil fruit. So he is his father. And when his father was executed, he was reborn as Momonosuke. And the reason that he's allowed to have two devil fruits, one of this constant rebirth thing, and the dragon Zoan devil fruit, is because the dragon one was a man-made devil fruit and didn't counteract the original devil fruit. Does that make any sense? No, but it's the only thing I can think of for why he would have memories of Roger. Those two options. And honestly, I'd be fine with either one. or obviously something different. I know we're going to go there to find the Shogun guy, figure out why he's working with Kaido, stop Kaido, and they want to open Wano's borders. So I guess they want to, clearly we're not going to join the world government. Take in refugees from the world government? Don't know. Alright, so let's, okay. Please note, tinfoil hat is on. This is a game. We are going to go into my more or less full tinfoil hat theory of Roger being the ultimate big bad. Again, this is a game I play with many TV series. You pick someone at the beginning within the first season, and you make it so they're the big bad, and you try to twist or manipulate the canon to make it work. So you're allowed to twist canon, you just can't outright break it. And see how long you can go before it's like, okay, it wouldn't be possible for this guy to be big bad. It was so easy to do this with Roger. I genuinely would not mind and would love it if he was the actual ultimate big bad. However, this is a game. It's supposed to be stupid and crazy. All right. So we have so many parallels between Luffy and Roger. So we would immediately draw a connection between the two, and therefore we think that Roger is a good person because we know Luffy is a good person. However, then you hear these whispers of Roger slaughtering an entire crew or taking out all these people. And you're like, yeah, he's a pirate. That's how he's going to be perceived by his enemies. But what if he wasn't? Then you're like, we learn all the people about his crew members, and we love them. They're wonderful. They're great people. So clearly they wouldn't follow an evil person. He's a good man. But then you also hear about these devil fruits that can manipulate memories. And then you see this grand man promising adventure and treasure to anyone who can find the One Piece. But what if it was a trap from the beginning? So the tinfoil hat theory starts back with Roger's execution. He's in Impel Down, preparing to be executed, as is his plan, as he knows he's dying and he won't be able to continue his journey. So he willingly turns himself over to the government, but he speaks to Garp about finding and raising and protecting his son. This is all a manipulation, as he knows Garp's character and is taking advantage of that, knowing that Garp will protect an innocent child despite the crimes of his father, whereas the world government would have him executed. This puts his son in a position where he will be raised by someone with extreme and powerful haki, and conqueror's haki, develop that skill. He'll be protected, he'll be safe, and ready for the next phase of his plan. He then has his execution where he declares his treasure is located at One Piece. He does this because Roger Twist never actually found One Piece, and it's critical that someone else does. So he tried telling his crewmates, hey, after I'm executed, I need you to continue on to find this, because here's my ultimate goal, this is what's looking for, this is why I need you to do it. And they're all like, I'm appalled, you're trying to take over the world, I won't be a part of this. So he has a different devil fruit user remove or manipulate their memories and disbands the crew. Now he's left with the fact that he doesn't have the time to find the One Piece before he dies because of his illness. So on his execution, he declares it to the world, and now everybody, all the pirates of a new generation, will be searching for it. So when the time comes, it will have been found, and he can continue on to the next stage of his plan. Shanks, either manipulated, controlled, memory erasure, or by his own volition, searches out Roger's son, where he finds Luffy as he's searching for Ace. Now, part of the thing must have been to give Luffy the Gum Gum fruit. Now, whether it had to be this devil fruit specifically, or it could have been any type of one that allows for durability in the body or something like that, doesn't matter. So he gives it to him, or when Luffy eats it, he's like, well, I gotta roll with the plan, because now he has the devil fruit, so I'm going to set him off on the journey that Roger has set up for me, and gives Luffy the straw hat. Insert tinfoil, keep the tinfoil hat theory in mind. It may be that the straw hat is important, and I wouldn't have included this if it wasn't for the giants straw hats in the arc I just read, is amplifying haki, and perhaps even Roger put his own haki or power in the hat to develop whoever wears its skills and power, so the person who wears it can hear the voices of all things if worn long enough. And that would be important in some way going forward. Eventually, Luffy will reunite with Shanks, likely at the One Piece, which is also the location of the Pluton. And Shanks, and his name has always been a clue for what he will eventually do, stabs Luffy, breaking my heart and soul, revealing that he has led him here to reactivate the Pluton. And it is only through hand waving with some kind of devil fruit or some kind of magic or some kind of power that his death, due to the situations that he has been, the path he followed and manipulated on via Roger's plan and Shanks, so that Luffy's death will lead to the resurrection of Roger, and a resurrected pirate needs to be the person to ship or captain the Pluton, as it's named after the underworld. You have to have been risen from the dead to captain the ship. So Luffy is dying. His crewmate are no match for Shanks, so they're dragging him away. Law tries to sacrifice himself to make Luffy immortal, but Luffy refuses, not allowing someone to die for him. And then he goes to the underworld, and he dies, leading to Roger's resurrection. Roger will probably betray Shanks because evil. And now he sets off, declaring war against the world and the world's government, and he attacks Sabadi as what he still views as the headquarters and captains important for the world government. Therefore, the man in the straw hat brings destruction to Fishman Islands, as Luffy had given the straw hat back to Shanks at this time, and now Roger has the straw hat again. The Fishman Island, Shirahoshi activates the full power of the Poseidon, becomes the ultimate weapon, connected with the Noah, the Neptunians, and they go off for the fight to defend her home and the world. Momonosuke and probably Enel or something, as I talked about, gets the third ancient weapon on the go, and we have a three-way war going on. The Marines as well. Everyone is trying to take down Roger, but he's too powerful. The Straw Hats go to the underworld, probably using some kind of power from Brook's Devil Fruit or Zoro's Cursed Sword, because it got so many demon names to it. They open a path to the underworld. Nami does something to travel and navigate through the river Styx, and they descend to the underworld to get their captain back because they refuse to abandon Luffy. Not happening. So they go down, and eventually they do find Luffy, who is having a heartfelt conversation with Ace and with Whitebeard and with their fallen comrades and people from each individual members of the Straw Hats past. We probably see Saul there, and they're giving him advice. And when his crew arrives, he's like, all right, I'm ready to return. It only makes sense for me to be the next Pirate King. I have to take that title away from the previous Pirate King. We get a heartfelt goodbye from Ace as they fade away. It'll break my heart and soul again to see him go. And then they return up there where Frankie has built another copy of the Pluton. And now that Luffy has been resurrected, the fourth Emperor of the Sea the fifth Emperor of the Sea takes on this unknown entity, because we should have only had 3 ancient weapons, and now we have a new fourth one, and he joins the fight to take down Roger, and eventually, in defeating him, takes his straw hat back and declares himself the uncontested king of the pirates, and nobody's saying anything about that. Is this stupid and crazy? Yes. However, I like it. Does this completely go against the canon? Not completely against. And again, it could be fun. So that's that's my current crazy straw hat theory. It involves a lot of hand waving for it to work. But the point being, I don't think it directly goes against the canon of the series for Roger to be resurrected to become the ultimate big bad. So there's that, and I will talk to you later. Before I do, community questions. Let's go into those. Okay, where's your wild theory about Emu? I'm sticking. Oh, is there a pronoun? Oh, it can be pronounced as emu, emu, emu. I appreciate the attempt at spelling this phonetically, but it really doesn't help me. I'm terrible with names. I need to hear it. I'm going to stick with he is the immortal one that the Apop fruit was used on, took over the world, Illuminati, ruling from the shadows. I think that's as tinfoil hatty as I can get for this moment. Side note, I know it's easier for the story to be Luffy has a villain to punch, but I did kind of like the idea of the world government's corruption being like a vast, overreaching ideal and social norms and what's been constructed over generations and what's just accepted. And that idea is what you need to break, and you can't punch an idea. So the fact that we have a physical, this person is the big bad, I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it probably works better with how the story needs to play out. And yeah, so giant straw hat hidden in some sort of prison cell. So it being locked up, and I have already said I'm leaning towards like the big sake cup and the little one, so the father and the son. So former captain and all the fleet admirals or fleet division commanders had a smaller straw hats. I'm not sure if my tinfoil hat theory of Luffy's straw hat containing the power of the previous wearer to infuse the soul and connect to lead to resurrection. I mean, that's full-on tinfoil hat crazy. But in a serious, what do I actually think is going to play out in the story, that's too crazy. So it might be a memento, like a serial killer keeps a memento. So the original, which isn't too tinfoil hat crazy, the original crew of the Will of D, like I think, that could have been the owner of it. So less tinfoil hat crazy, but who knows. Alright, the Don Quixote guy who we now love, already said he's fantastic. What do I think Vegapunk created that's worth bringing down or making the warlords irrelevant? He already made the pacifistas, so did he make an upgrade to them? He would have had to make something stronger than the warlords. And I got no sweet clue what that would be. Maybe he couldn't have created an ancient weapon. It'd be very stupid for us to go through all the trouble of burning the blueprints for the Pluton only to reveal that Vegapunk reversed engineered and created one of the ultimate weapons himself. That wouldn't work. What do I think Vegapunk would have made? Perfected a devil fruit? Perfected the dragon Zoan devil fruit man-made one? I'd lean more towards that he finally made a perfect devil fruit. The mysterious figure, I'm assuming we're talking about tall, pointy hat man. He's cool. I'm leaning towards he's going to destroy or declare a cleansing for Alabasta, and yeah, I probably being immortal. Revolutionary commanders, love them. Rock's pirates, again, I'm kind of for no reason thinking that the lady who claims to be Whitebeard's former lover, mother of his child, was a member. How do I feel about Luffy having several nations and islands as his allies? I love it. I love it so very much. I love the Straw Hat Fleet more than anything. There's a cover story where, as they're spreading the good word of our beloved savior, Straw Hat Luffy, they find a place and they go to pillage and all that, and they're like, we found this village poorer than what we thought, so we're redistributing and sending out supplies. So they're just feeding them, and I love it, and they're taking on bad pirates and just taking over islands, and it's wonderful. This is now under the protection of Straw Hat Luffy. They burn one of Shanks's flags. I need this to be developed on in the future so very much. Even Dalton and Witch Lady are very important people now. I love that they're come back. I love that Whirlpool guy is there. I want to see him get beat up again. I love all the familiar faces. Even if Luffy doesn't realize or care, he has more sway in world politics than most. That's very true, because he has a lot of friends now in this meeting, and they all love Luffy. He's got a lot of allies on this council. Like, half this council are Team Straw Hat. Do you think even Germa would rally behind him if the need arise? I think they would find a way to side with him and be like, this opportunity benefits us. We can get something out of it if we side with Luffy and take down this bigger opponent. I can see they wouldn't necessarily go to help Luffy. They would go because it's advantageous for themselves to team up with Luffy. And they can kind of trust how he would respond and not betray them. What do you think of Im's Pointy Hat Man's eye design and what it means? He or she is seemingly able to see what the real threat is. Mihawk was seemingly just as perceptive when out of all the big names, he realized that Luffy is the real threat in the Paramount War. I've seen even Luffy and Shanks' eyes get a circle around them at some key moments, but that just might be a visual effect thing, and I'm reading too much into it. All right. His eye, I think I made a comment when I was reading it. Does he have the Renegon? Let me just look up his eye real quick. Maybe if I see it in color from the anime kind of thing. I can definitely see a similarity to Mihawk's, whereas Mihawk's is the yellow color, but it definitely has that second circle kind of thing around it. Can I compare it to Shanks? Not many similarities to Shanks, unless, like you said, just a specific moment for dramatic effect. About his eyes, I guess the only thing I could think of would be its descendants. Isn't Mihawk from an island? No, I think he took over that island. I was thinking like it's constantly plagued by war and stuff like that, and the monkeys. I know I've heard people say that Mihawk has great observational haki. I think I heard someone say somewhere that's how he found Shanks on that island one time. I don't know where I heard that. Probably on TikTok when discussing something that I had already read, so I felt safe enough to watch it before I completely blocked One Piece from my TikTok. Editing Jessica found an image of an eye being similar to Katakuri, so definitely leaning towards strong observational haki. Yeah, I don't have too many opinions on his eyes yet. Color is like a red, the second circle. I just really took it as dramatic effect, but maybe someone very powerful, lots of haki in general. I'm more interested in why he had those pictures of Luffy, Blackbeard, Crybaby Princess, and Vivi. Yeah, how can Oda pack so much into a tiny space of 6 chapters? Agreed. Talking about Whole Cake Island, did I cheer for Katakuri a little bit? A little bit. I'm still very strongly Team Luffy, but I'm like, I respect this man. Oh, no, I did not. Okay, in your tinfoil hat, do you see Inu being as Roger? Roger faked his death and is now leading the world government. I can get behind that. I like my tinfoil hat theory of the resurrections in order to captain the Pluton, but him being in truth. Wouldn't hate it, but okay. Emu seems like that character being the final villain of the series, most likely. It's while that Emu got introduced and we really have no idea who this person is. Granted, yeah, we're like 800 and something odd chapters in here, 900 and something odd chapters, and if he is the big bad, like, is this the first we've seen him, or has he been hinted at before? Was he in the background? Was he mentioned in the past? Like, on reread, I'm looking out for him. And what's with the giant straw hats? Spoke with the giant straw hat already, but I'm like, what the hell is it? My idea is clearly wrong. Reverie is pronounced prepare for holy shit moments one after the other. My brain short-circuited so many times, and I audibly just said, what the hell? Many times while reading this arc. How do you feel about meeting all these characters again? I'm so happy to meet them all again. I cannot tell you how happy I am to see all these familiar faces. Yeah, for people reading week to week, it would have been years and years between them. That must have been insane. Nostalgia, mostly for Vivi. I was so happy to see her again. Talking about Whole Cake Island, thoughts on Sanji's big fight. Instead of a fight, it was using his cooking. I think it was a very good idea for him to take the part that his family hated about him, his love of cooking and serving others, and using that to defeat Big Mom and knock her out of the craving tantrum. So I really like that. Are there any characters that have been introduced that you would like the Straw Hats to interact with more going forward in the story? Not gonna lie, Crocodile. I want Crocodile to come back. Definitely want to see the Straw Hats interact with him again. Probably Sabo. Again, I'd like for him to come back and Luffy to be with his brother again for a little bit of time. I want Vivi to rejoin the crew. I want Rebecca to team up with not Rebecca. Viola to team up with Usopp again for like a sniper hit, even though he's already developing his own not conqueror's haki, observational haki. I'd like that. Has Shanks replaced Roger for your long-running theory? Are you more excited for Wano or to get answers for this wild arc? Can I have both? Yes, Shanks is in my theory as being one of the ultimate big bads, but working for Roger or working under his plan. I was holding off. I didn't want Shanks to be the big bad because I couldn't, in my heart and soul, like I don't want Luffy to hurt that way. And then I remembered that my favorite arcs and moments in any series is the gut punch. Oh my god, they couldn't have made this hurt more if they tried. Like the only way this could have hurt more was if the author came into my house and stabbed me. So I'm like, to really hurt me, Shanks has to betray Luffy. So he's up. They're both in my tinfoil hat theory. Okay, yeah, I need to watch the movies. Doflamingo's plan was to use Law's power to switch personalities with someone when he fought with Moria, and he has his orders coming from someone higher up, most likely the pointy hat man. Emu. Everyone's saying it's pronounced emu, but I feel like I'm saying that wrong because that just sounds like the animal. So, often represented as the number 16, Ichi and Mew. And Doffy brought up the number 16 during that conversation with Law when he explained the body swap plan. A national treasure doesn't have to be an object, it can be a person. Let me read this again. Doffy's plan was using Law's power to switch personalities with someone. Uh-oh. Law can switch bodies. Uh-oh. When he fought with Moray, he said his orders came from someone higher up than the elders. Emu was often represented by the number 16, and Doffy brought up the number 16 during this conversation with Law when he explained the body swap plan. I need to reread Dressrosa. And the war arc, apparently. A national treasure doesn't have to be an object, it can be a person. Doffy knows about Emu, and he is the treasure, he is in charge, he has all the knowledge, he's the important person. Doffy wanted to have Law's powers switch their minds so he could take control and be controlling the government from the background in the shadows, like the true puppet master he is. I need Law's... Why did we introduce Law's power of body swapping and then never use it again after Punk Hazard? Oda wouldn't do that. He's planning something for that. Oh, sweet love of God, what are we doing with Law's powers? How do you feel about haki and how it connects to the larger themes of the series? I have nothing against haki. I just don't want it to overshadow, like, you fight Crocodile with water and kind of thing, like, and Luffy fighting Enel because rubber versus electricity. I just don't want haki to overshadow, like, coming up with a creative solution to Devil Fruit powers. Themes of the series, just about will and freedom, works well. Like, I have nothing against haki. Please call it Reverie. That's easier to say, so I am. As you are probably aware, the Japanese language... Okay, the L's and the R's, yeah. I blame it on the Wikipedia page, because I only use the one page, and that's just the names of the arcs and the chapters that they include. That's the only Wikipedia page that I'm allowed to open. Also, I can't pronounce anything anyway, so what's it matter? Until I'm able to watch videos of theory videos and people talking about this repeatedly, I'm not going to know how to pronounce anything. Who's your favorite person to see in the Return arc? My beloved Vivi. I'm so happy. I actually like Viola more than Rebecca, so didn't get much of her, so definitely Vivi. Princess Crybaby, I love Shirahoshi so very much. I think she might actually be my favorite of the princesses, so. Oh, I didn't! Did you notice Moda the Milkmaid from Ace's cover story all the way back during Skypiea arc was one of the citizens taking down Peachbeard? I didn't notice that. I love that so very much. Oh, I love that cover story for Ace when he's going around looking for Blackbeard and he's like infiltrating the Marines and eating all the food and he goes to the island and he meets the girl and she's one of the people taking down the pirates. One of the citizens. I love that so very much. So that was the islands that Ace had visited. Oh, okay. What do you think of Green Bull Ryu Drive? I'm pretty sure that's the unknown admiral that is talking to Fujitora. Let me just confirm. Because I can't use the Wikipedia page to do something easy like confirm a character's name. Because God forbid I see if they're alive or dead or anything like that, or a spoiler for it, or there's somebody else. I learned my lesson when I was watching, or when I was reading Song of Ice and Fire and watching Game of Thrones for the first time. The dangers of the Wikipedia page. I accidentally ruined the Red Wedding for myself. I think I took a screenshot of that moment when he was introduced. I normally take a screenshot for character introductions when it says their name. Yep, okay. So Admiral talking to Fujitora. He's in the shadows, sent by Magma Bastard, because he's mad that Fujitora is there. Don't really know much about him. Just from the tease, what do I think of him? He's been in hiding or something like they're at a commission or whatever for 3 years. Something 3 years. What was going on 3 years ago? Was that the Paramount War? Alright, Fujitora is talking about there's no longer any need for the 7 warlords of the sea. Buddy's laughing, saying, you're crazy. Maybe that's... Be that as it may, why don't you try the food? It's quite tasty here, or are you still in the midst of your fast? Well, if a pretty lady asks me to open wide, I suppose I'd chow down, and that's why I haven't had a bite for 3 darn years. Something about a fast. I don't know. Was he tricked into eating a devil fruit and he's going to think that someone's going to try to poison him by sneaking a second devil fruit in there to be killed instantly? Not going to lie, when I first seen his shadow, it kind of reminded me of Roger. And I'm like, no, I refuse to move away from my tinfoil hat theory of Roger being dead and needs to be resurrected. So I don't believe he's in hiding as someone else. Fujitora seems to like this man just fine, and he's going against Magma Bastard's orders of taking him out or anything. So I like this guy so far. What do you think of Bonnie having some relevance in the story? I'm interested to see what it is, because she's sneaking around, and she had been captured the last time I seen her by Blackbeard, and it was Magma Bastard who came and got her, so there's something going on there. Interested to see what it goes and what her history is with all of them. Kind of thinking, did Blackbeard capture her for a ransom? So, like, was she an important person before she became a pirate? Maybe. What do I think of the revolutionaries? Interested powers. I like the bellowing, everyone getting called to arms. I like the crows. Love Sabo, so excited to see what they're going on. Excited to see Kuma's alive and well. Not well, definitely not well. I want to see them save him. What secret do you think Doflamingo was talking about? Now I'm thinking it's the fact that maybe Emu exist in general. And what they're planning, they probably have evidence of the Void Sentry because he's like a serial killer keeping a trophy, and its reveal will give information, but they refuse to get rid of it, kind of thing. Thoughts on the Rock Pirates tease? I'm assuming that the fact that you said tease means we're going to get more on them eventually, and they're going to play another role and come back. All I got is I'm still thinking for no reason whatsoever that I don't believe he's Whitebeard's son's mother was a member for no other reason than it brought up 30-something years ago, the same time we mentioned, I think, 40 years for the Rock Pirates, so it gave Garp his notoriety, so I do want to see them again, whoever they are. Charlos gets hit again, yes. Smack this man all day long. How is his face still intact? I do not know. Did not expect to see Bonnie. Very happy I did. I just, like I said, I got nothing. I don't know why she's here. Coolest nicknames. I'm convinced Dark King Silver's Rayleigh is one of the coolest, if not the coolest character nickname. 1000% agree. I love the Dark King as a nickname. I think that might be my favorite one in One Piece. What are some other your favorite nicknames, names in One Piece, but in other series as well? Okay, just because it's going to take me a little bit of time to remember nicknames for One Piece, I'm going to start with Naruto because they have some of my favorite nicknames. The Ghost of the Uchiha, Clan Killer, Yellow Flash, Friends Killer, Copycat Ninja, Demon of the Hidden Mist, the Tailless Tailed Beast, number one Knuckleheaded Ninja. I don't think there's a nickname in Naruto that I don't love. The top being Ghost of the Uchiha, Tailless Tail Beast, God of the Shinobi. For One Piece, what was Whitebeard's nick? Did Whitebeard have a nickname other than Pops? I love Pops. It doesn't strike fear into you, but whenever they called him Pops, I loved it. World's Greatest Swordsman, I'm all for that. I love red-haired Shanks. It's simple, it's classic, but I love it. But Dark King Rayleigh is the best one. King of the Pirates is a great title. Took me a minute, but like, Surgeon of Death is actually a close second for La. Doflamingo was like, what, Heavenly Angel or Demonic Angel, something like that. So, love that for him. I mean, I think Magma Bastard is a fantastic nickname as well, so much so that I don't even remember his real name. I don't care. He doesn't have a real name. It's just Magma Bastard. New favorite devil fruit seen in this arc. If we're talking about Whole Cake Island, then either the book fruit, because I want to live in a book, or Katakuri's mochi, just because that's cool. If we're talking about the Reverie, then I like crows. So being able to control or turn into lots of crows. I'm hoping you can't hear the noise outside. We had freezing rain and snow. Canada, lovely. And they're clearing out the parking lot. Favorite cover story? The Straw Hat Fleet. Love the Straw Hat Fleet and everything with them. So many familiar faces. Do you believe that was actually Shanks in 907? Do I think it was actually Shanks in 907? The app is freezing up on me. We have Big Mom talking to Kaido. We have Magma Bastard. We got them talking about rocks. We have the throne room and an empty throne and the brother. We have Shirahoshi being kidnapped and chained. This man needs to die. I get to see him get punched in the face again. That's wonderful. Blood pressure's going up. CP0. Kill these people. Punched in the face. Love it. I'm looking for Shanks. Looking for Shanks. Okay. Oh, okay. So, yeah, very, very clearly Shanks. I see what you mean, though, because we only have the side profile, and we don't see the... Granted, it could just be dramatic effect, but we don't see the scar on that side that would obviously be Shanks. So, are we talking evil twin? Do we... I have too many tinfoil hat theories to entertain the notion of an evil twin. Do I want an evil twin? Yes, now I want an evil twin for both Shanks and... Roger, because then that can be evil Roger, and the good Roger can be the one that his crew originally knew, and then he was attacked or something and replaced with evil Roger, and or we had the previous Op Fruit user switch personalities, so we had good Roger that his good crew loved, and then the personality switch happened, and someone made evil Roger because he took over his body, like we did with Punk Hazard, and then that Roger got killed, and then was put in the body of Shanks. I have that's the very... Tinfoil hat. That is tinfoil hat. That is stupid crazy. It would be fun. I wouldn't hate it, but it's stupid crazy. Do I think this is Shanks? Yes, I think it's Shanks. I think he's doing the same thing that he did with Whitebeard to try to stop events from getting worse. And he's like, the best way to do this is to speak with the elders, make them see reason, and to talk them out of going after whatever pirate that he's talking to them about. And just like Whitebeard, I don't think it's going to work. People have been quick to point out this moment as confirmation that Shanks isn't good as we thought. Shanks is a bad guy like the world's government. I'm leaning more towards he's so powerful that he can get an audience with these leaders and has the power to escape no matter what they do, and is trying to make the best of a situation to stop an event from occurring. Like I said, just like he was trying to stop Ace from going after Blackbeard and went to Whitebeard to call off Ace, and Whitebeard saying no. So he's gone to the world government to tell them to call off whatever they're planning, because, hey, I know what you're planning. This is a threat. I will fight you on it, just so you know. And they're like going to do whatever they want anyway. What do I expect next after Whole Cake, specifically in terms of the world and not just the Straw Hats? War. I expect war. So Vegapunk has definitely made something that Fujitora wants to use to get rid of the warlords. Then the warlords already suck and barely listen to the government as it is, so I can see them betraying the government in some way and them turning to Vegapunk. I can see Vegapunk not being completely evil because he had some kind of honor to honor Kuma's last wishes and to put that thing in the pacifista's memory to protect the Thousand Sunny until one of the Straw Hats showed up and not to fight that Straw Hat. So there's some kind of honor there. So he might, and he tried to stop what's his name, the gas buddy from killing everyone in Punk Hazard. That wasn't his call. So I think he has some kind of morals and just kind of figured he's gone too far into the science of things and not realizing all the damage and hurt he's causing what he's working for. So I can see him playing a role in the future just because he's been brought up so many times and never really introduced. I don't know what's going to happen if and when we open Wano's borders. I don't know if we're taking refugees from the world's government. I don't know if we're going to declare war on the world government. The revolution's going to declare war on them. So we're going to have war. Do you think Stelly, that's his name, the adopted brother, ever achieved his dream of sitting on that chair? No, he better not. He might be nuisance, but most of the time he climbed at a foster care system to be the king of the country. That's a very good point. I have great respect for his perseverance. He definitely climbed his way up very well. And I'm supporting in his ultimate goal of sitting on the empty throne to be king of the world. Buggy's going to sit in that throne, don't you know? Buggy's the one who falls upwards. Even if for only one moment before Buggy steps in and takes his rightful place. We agree. Theories about Bonnie and her connection to Kuma. The only connection I can think of is she's a citizen of the kingdom that he used to rule, or they're related in some way, but that's it. Does it seem weird having less than 200 chapters till you're current with the manga? Don't say such terrible things. I can't believe I got like 200 chapters left. That's sad. That's very scary. What do I think of the national treasure Doflamingo's referring to and why? I'm going with the, like I said, evidence of what happened in the Void Century, and they're keeping the giant straw hat like a serial killer keeps a trophy. Who do I think the certain pirate is? Most obvious answer is Blackbeard, but that makes me feel like I agree. I'm also leaning towards Blackbeard, but that's the obvious answer. Could be talking about Luffy. Oh, I just had a bad thought. What if the certain pirate he's talking about is Vivi, because she was a pirate on the Straw Hat crew for a while? If Shanks is a villain in a way that doesn't fit into my tinfoil hat theory, most likely, and said if you have to do a cleansing because the world's in chaos and the best way to uphold peace is to do your cleansing for the greater good and you have to destroy Alabasta, here's what Vivi has done and it'll give you the justification. Oh, he better not be talking about Vivi. Stick with Blackbeard. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't want Shanks to be evil. How do you feel about Big Mom and her crew in the context of being a foil to Whitebeard? It's why I love them. It really is. And just give me a second, because I have been talking too much and I need some water. This arc is like 6 chapters long. My timer says I've been going at this for an hour and 41 minutes. All right, yeah, foil to Whitebeard. Yes, where Whitebeard is a family, and they are a family, and they care about each other, and they're all each other's brothers, and this is Pops. They love each other. Whereas Big Mom, it's blood family, but it's all political and manipulation and hatred and fear and willing to sacrifice and kill her own children. Whereas Pops was willing to die and sacrifice his life to make a better world for his sons and to protect his sons. I love the foil between the two, how they are similar but so different, and I love it. I love it so much. Whitebeard is about family and loving his adopted children unconditionally, while Big Mom has her biological children living in fear under her rule and manipulation. Agree. Have you noticed how creative Luffy is? How he uses his power? We discussed that. You can have weak devil fruit, but when used properly with creativity and skill and making the best of your abilities, then it's an ultimate weapon. So, like the slow down time fruit with the Foxy parts, like that's an insanely overpowered power, but he used it in such a way that he hasn't elevated himself. Whereas Doflamingo, like controlling strings, I'm sure starting off, that's not the most useful power. And we see Luffy, as a kid, the Gum Gum fruit seems very weak, but they use it in such an efficient manner, and it works well with their personalities and their creativity and just how they use it in their environment to make it so powerful and for them to become basically gods. So definitely how you use your devil fruit is important. Please forgive my favorite character, Garp. I will forgive him when the captain does. I understand he should have picked Ace, but the hero of the Marines. Good character writing. I love the character writing. I'm still angry at him. Reason many people joined the Navy would look bad for him to turn on Garp. I'm never going to be okay with you choosing someone other than your family. However, I recognize that Garp chose his found family and just tried to stay out of it and had faith in Luffy to save Ace and just didn't want to get involved. And if Ace had said, "Grandpa, please save me," I would have died, and I'm sure Garp would have been, that would have broke Garp, and he'd be like, all right, you just had to ask, that's all you had to say, my boy, and he would have turned on the government. I'm sure he would have. And then he did want to kill Magma Bastard for killing Ace, so I won't be in tears again. One of the main reasons Garp didn't want them to be pirates was because of the Marineford situation. Yeah, he didn't want them to become pirates to have to choose between the two. Understandable. Still very angry that he didn't immediately help Ace, even though he shouldn't have. It worked for his character. I'm not saying it didn't work for his character, but I will forgive him when Luffy directly says, "I forgive you, Grandpa," or "I understand, Grandpa," or "It's okay," or Ace made his decisions. He knew what life he was leading. These were the consequences of his actions. He knew what it was, but until Luffy says, "I forgive you," Garp is on hold on my list. You'll be needing your tinfoil hat a lot. It got its use. Doflamingo says he knows the secret of the celestial dragons. What do you think it is? I mean, the obvious answer, he knows the truth about the Void Century, and that information is going to lead to distrust and hatred towards the world government. A lot of people think Katakuri threw the fight with Luffy. Any thoughts? No, I don't think he threw it. Honor too much for him, especially, like, took the hit. I think he was testing his strength, and Luffy came out on top. Pretty clear he did, like, he clearly exhausted but fell on purpose. Okay, if that's what you mean. If that's what you mean, then, like, when they're both down, he might have let Luffy stand up first and be like, the moment that they both fell is when he accepted Luffy as the victor. It's like, you've proven your power to me. I'm going to let you go. I probably could stand up for a round 2, but you won round 1, so I'm going to see you as capable and most likely come back to take down Big Mom. And I want that for my siblings. Wano's just around the corner. Are you ready? No. No, I am not. Top 5 favorite One Piece royalty. Crybaby Princess, Vivi, Viola, Don Quixote guy who punched Charlos in the face, and the 5th one, I mean, technically I can say Sabo, because his stepbrother is the king of a country. yes, it hurt to see this Thousand Sunny being damaged by Big Mom, and Jinbei was like, we might have to be ready to abandon the ship. I'm like, no, you're not. We do not abandon this ship. Would you like to join the Church of Katakuri? Yes, I would formally like to become a member. So long as it doesn't contradict or conflict with my love of the Whitebeard Pirates. I'm a love of the Whitebeard Pirates first and foremost. Katakuri could be a second, but Whitebeard Pirates first. All right, that is the end. 6 chapters, and this video has been I've been recording for 1 hour and 48 minutes and 40 seconds. My love of God. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.